This is the Crown Prosecution Service Guide. It explains how the CPS prosecutes independently, fairly, and works to deliver justice in every case. The guide explains there is a two-part test before bringing any prosecution: the evidential stage and the public interest stage. Prosecutors must be satisfied that there is sufficient evidence to provide a realistic prospect of conviction against each suspect on each charge. They must consider what the defence case may be and how it is likely to affect the prospect of conviction. A case which does not pass the evidential stage must not proceed, no matter how serious or sensitive it may be. The finding that there is a realistic prospect of conviction is based on the prosecutor's objective assessment of the evidence, including the impact of any defence and any other information that the suspect has put forward or on which they might rely. It means that an objective, impartial and reasonable jury or bench of magistrates or judge hearing a case alone, properly directed and acting in accordance with the law, is more likely than not to convict the defendant of the charge alleged. I say that is the test. Those are the criteria. It reads very well, but it's total bullshit. And the reason it's bullshit is because with these people, words mean whatever they want them to mean. Sufficient evidence, a realistic prospect of conviction. I'm going to show you a few cases, some recent, some not so, in which there is no credible evidence at all. This is a recent report from the London Evening Standard. Father tells of year-long groping nightmare after being wrongly accused of sexually assaulting a waiter. Simon Correa, I hope I've pronounced his name correctly, endured a year-long legal battle to clear his name when he was falsely accused of groping a waiter. And it turned out that it was at a black tie ceremony in London. This guy's from the north of England. And he touched the waiter on the back to ask for something or whatever. This waiter accused him of indecent assault, whatever you want to call it. Clear CCTV footage showed Mr. Carrera tap the man's back while he was holding a tray of drinks to alert him not to step backwards as he was just behind him. But the father of two was arrested by a police officer and locked up in a cell for 15 hours before being charged with sexual assault. A judge in a London Crown Court dismissed the case in less than 2 hours after viewing the CCTV footage, saying it wholly contradicted the waiter's claims. Ridiculous and outrageous in equal measure. Did this waiter believe he'd been sexually assaulted? What I'm about to say now may sound silly, but sometimes when people are touched on a certain part of the anatomy, it doesn't register properly. You touch someone's shoulder, I might think it's a back. Perception is a strange thing. There's a very cute trick or a nasty trick from my childhood. You take a piece of ice, you show your victim a lighted cigarette, you put the ice on the person's neck, and that person thinks he's been burned. It's actually just the ice. I'm not going to make a judgment on this, but I mean, not on the waiter, but let's assume that he was. I mean, why would he call the police over this if he thought that at that time? Why wouldn't he say something It is ludicrous. And why would the police take this so seriously? And why would the CPS charge? Absolutely ludicrous. The next case I'm going to talk about is even worse. This is David Pattinson. I'll let him explain to you what happened.
I run a female styling business called Look Me, and the reason I'm here is because I was charged with common assault and sexual touching, and I won my case very easily. A chronology of my case was that I was doing a job interview with a female styling prospect. We're an on-demand company, so we don't have a storefront. I do all my meetings in public places, and all our appointments are held at the client's home, office or hotel. But this incident in question, I met a young female stylist in a bar in London, and we had a drink in that bar. We had a drink in a next door bar and in a third bar during the course of the conversation. I decided not to pursue this business relationship any further because she had told me she was moving out of the area in the next couple of months, and I never thought or heard any more about it, or never made any more contact with her. But 2 months later the police called me and said, there's been this criminal allegation against you of assault, you know, can you come and talk to us about it? And I thought they were talking about someone else, because I have no criminal record. I'm 37 years old. I've never been involved in any trouble with the law whatsoever. I did not know what they were referring to, because in the phone call they did not put this allegation or the person's name to me. When I got there, they showed me some very small CCTV, which showed me touching her on the neck, telling her a joke. I was laughing, she was laughing, and they said, we think this is common assault. And I had a female legal representative next to me who disagreed with that, and she thought, they were not going to pursue this any further. We thought that was kind of it. I answered all their questions for an hour, and I never thought I thought that was the end of the matter. But I got a letter in the post about 3 weeks later saying they were charging me with common assault. I needed to appear at the magistrate's court, where I intended to plead not guilty. But when I got there, they said we're adding a second charge of sexual touching, that I had kissed this girl on the cheek outside the venue, which I did not do. There was no CCTV that showed that, even though there were CCTV cameras all around the outside of the venue. And so my lawyer advised me to move this court case to the Crown Court, so I would get a jury trial, which I was very, very happy to do, because I knew that if I had 12 people listening to this case, there was no way I could possibly lose. The minute before my trial started, the Crown Prosecution came to me and said, David, we'd like to offer you a plea deal. We will drop the sexual touching charge if you plead guilty to the common assault charge, which I totally refused to do. I said, there's no way I'm going to do that. I'm here to win both. Anyway, once the trial started, the Crown Prosecution changed the definition of sexual touching from me allegedly kissing this girl outside the venue on her cheek to you've touched this girl on her neck during a conversation where sexual topics have been discussed. And the judge immediately said you can't have two charges for one offence, so we have to drop the common assault. So I already won that, minute one of the trial. Then we had a sort of a 3-day slog over this sexual touching charge, which I eventually won. The police had not disclosed the CCTV footage of the first venue I was in with this girl, the second venue I was in with this girl. It was only a small portion of the CCTV footage from the third venue that they showed as evidence, yet all their questions related to what we were doing in the first two venues. And that CCTV footage would have been available had the police gone and sought it in the first place. By the time I got around to being charged, it had all been deleted by the venues. We were not able to obtain it. The second point was that this girl had put in her witness statement that there were two witnesses, friends of hers, that had seen me behaving in a unpleasant manner to her She had not named them. The police had not sought to find out who they were. So in our defence rebuttal, we made a big effort to find these witnesses and to get them into court so that we could question them. We only managed to get hold of one of them. I was seeking the witnesses that they had suggested that they allegedly were going to criticise my behaviour. And when they got to court, this one girl that came, she didn't have anything to say of any relevance, and the other witness, we never found out who that was. The other thing, this girl's witness statement claimed that she'd had psychological problems, and yet the police had never seemed to think that might be a rationale for a malicious prosecution. I think these malicious prosecutions of British men are a cultural problem that we all have to deal with. I think I have a responsibility as a previously falsely accused person to prevent other falsely accused men being prosecuted in the future. I think it's clear to me we have a systemic problem in the Crown Prosecution Service.
So she goes to the police 2 months later and they take her seriously. She does this because any CCTV would hopefully have been taped over or whatever they do with CCTVs nowadays. Imagine if there had been no CCTV though. And why would the Crown take such a case, and the way they treated him in court? These people are totally corrupt. The case of Mark Pearson is even more outrageous, if you can believe that, because he was accused of rape. December 3rd, 2014. This case got quite a lot of publicity. He brushed past a woman at London's Waterloo station. Whether or not there was any actual contact with her. Somehow, he was alleged to have... Watch the video and listen.
This is you walking past the woman at Waterloo Station last February. So you're the red arrow. And here we can see you're holding your rucksack with one hand, a newspaper in your other hand. And the second CCTV image is the woman who's marked by the blue triangle coming towards you. Now, the third image, you directly pass one another, and then you both keep on walking. There are some time codes right at the top of your screen there, and they show that you're only next to each other for a second, and that's compared to the 2 to 3 seconds that the claimant said the assault lasted for. Now, when you were shown those pictures by police, what do you think?
I wasn't actually shown them by the police. I was shown them 6 months after I was first arrested. There was a delay in getting those images to my solicitor, and it was only then that I realised that that was actually me in the CCTV footage. Until then, I thought I was being confused with somebody else. So it was only then that I realised I was being accused of this.
Oh, so you first thought it might be missing identity. And when it went to your solicitor, then how did you analyse it together?
We sent it to a CCTV expert, a guy called Jacob Blythe at Warwick University, and he came to the conclusion that I only passed her in half a second.
Yeah. And meantime, presumably, you're trying to get on with your life.
Exactly.
With this accusation hanging over you. What was that like?
I just couldn't get on with my life. I mean, I'm a painter and artist, and I just couldn't paint. I couldn't stop thinking about this. For me, it was totally bizarre. It was all I thought about. I was waking up in the night just shaking.
You've written to the Crown Prosecution Service asking for an explanation or an apology. Have you got anything? Or either.
Anything.
Have you got anything yet?
No, nothing yet.
Right. Why do you think that is?
I've no idea. I mean, I've no idea why it was set forth in the first place. I shouldn't have even been arrested.
What would you like them to do?
I would like them to just take a look at their methods, their system. There's something gone terribly wrong with it.
Okay. Well, just to say that a CPS spokesman said there was sufficient evidence for this case to proceed to court and progress to trial. We respect the decision of the jury. They have acknowledged receipt of your letter, they say. They'll reply in due course.
I'd love to know what the evidence was.
Okay. Mark, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Mark Pearson.
I'd love to know what that evidence was, he says. What was it? They actually slowed down the video, the CCTV video, to make it more credible. Well, less incredible. It's absolutely ridiculous that they should bring charges like this. And these are only sexual cases either. This is Britain's longest serving miscarriage of justice prisoner, Michael Stone. I'll put a link to both of Michael Stone websites, one of which I set up. He was convicted of the Chiltern murders on ludicrous evidence. While he was on remand, 3 other inmates claimed he confessed to them. After his conviction, one of them went public and said he made it up. Stone's conviction was quashed. A retrial was ordered, and at that retrial there was only one self-confession. One he was ready to shout through a prison wall. Absolutely ridiculous. The jury actually visited the cell. I mean, and this guy, he's no angel, to put it mildly. He's done a lot of bird before this, but he's been convicted on absolutely no credible evidence whatsoever. These people are scum. Not all of them. The police are scum. Not all of them, and not all the time. But this sort of thing, and I haven't discussed political prosecutions yet. The hounding of a certain Mr. Robinson. I'm no great fan of his. But if you consider some of the trivial sex cases that have been prosecuted, the Operation YouTube witch hunt, which destroyed the lives of so many celebrities, innocent celebrities, including Rolf Harris, and I say that consciously, innocent, totally innocent. They tried to incite fantasists to make claims against Cliff Richard, all this for nothing. And at the same time, girls in various towns and cities across the country were being violated on an industrial scale, literally on an industrial scale, while police officers, prosecutors and others turned a blind eye. There have now been a lot of prosecutions, but a lot of people have got away with absolutely horrible crimes, and these scum continue to persecute the innocent and let the guilty get away with it. Anyway, that is why the Crown Prosecution Guide isn't worth the paper it's printed on. Isn't worth the web page on which it is laid out.